2 games in the bag. 4 more to go for today. 6 more yesterday. We've just seen the first ERANGEL, and it was a crazy awakening for the Chilean squad. Not what we've seen in Game 1. Not really what we were expecting after watching Game 1, as they just absolutely folded everybody else in that lobby, Felix.
Yeah, Chile coming out with the performance that we kind of wanted to see from them in Game 1 as well. But Brazil was able to steal that away. And in the second match, I thought it was going to be Brazil all over again. Really great position, playing him really disciplined as well. They were not overthinking things too much. They knew that after that initial shift towards the eastern side happened, they had to rotate out of farm, and they did just that. They played it super smart, super slow as well, quite in contrast to that game on Sanok where they tried to recenter as much as possible. Obviously, that not being possible here, they tried to have all 4 players left alive on any and all circumstances, and they did just that by rotating slow, making sure you get into that northern side of shelter really safely, and then afterwards fighting themselves through the only team that really was in the northern side, through Guatemala, and not losing anyone just there was so massively important. We saw Diego there being tagged from the distance from some of these Guatemalan players down to really low HP, but not losing anyone afterwards, closing down the fight, and then that initial fight against Chile, that's why it fell apart, unfortunately, but not necessarily because of Chile themselves, but because they had to go through, I think, the Dominican Republic before fighting Chile, and at that point, they were just too wounded. They just weren't ready and focused enough anymore, and Chile closing it down like they have throughout the entirety of this game. Southern side all the way. They started off very early against Uruguay, isolated, finds something that we haven't seen from Brazil, as we've said. And I gotta be honest, right now, just judging by these 2 games, Chile looking way more dangerous than Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking a different kind of crazy, right? They're looking a different kind of dangerous. And like you said, right, that was a key fight. Chile versus Brazil. As we said in the fight, this would be a big fight, and it was convincing. It was not unwinnable for Brazil. It wasn't easy to win either, but very important flanks coming out super quickly by Chile, moving around the sides, right, using that ridge line. They killed the compound team is killed, and they move around the sides to grab that space and get the angles they needed, and then they very quickly get that trade. I think it was Lorenzen on the DBS or S12K close range, getting 2 knocks, instantly traded from the bottom. The reaction is super quick, and that's what keeps them alive, keeps them in it, keeps them rolling, and keeps a 10-point game from ending right there, and they are able to turn it into a 29-point game. So crazy stuff coming out of Chile, and a super strong finish there towards the end as well, cleaning it up. But we'll have to wait and see. More consistency on the side of Brazil, more explosive potential on the side of Chile maybe, but we'll have to wait and see what they do in the rest of the matches. 2 more ERANGELs today, followed by 2 Miramars, are going to give us plenty of chances to figure out who really has what it takes to make it all the way to Riyadh.
Blind path is there. Yes, it's a really tough one, but we touched on this before. Should it really matter? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it should. Too many positions that all these teams have open and are up for grabs. Even if everyone would kind of go towards the northern side of this playing path, there should still be enough positions to not necessarily be forced into a contest. And I think that's what we're seeing here. But I gotta touch on the Dominican Republic, because it looks like they're gonna be contesting Ecuador once more. And I don't really necessarily understand this. I've said this before, I think you said it as well before, and it didn't work out for the Dominican Republic either. Just last game. Quite in contrast, they had to rotate off in that one single vehicle. They tried to kind of gatekeep and camp Guatemala, but not even that worked out. So I'm surprised to see them here.
Yeah, it's not been super nice for them, and like you said, they also have Guatemala close by, which is sure, maybe you can gatekeep them sometimes, but it's usually just another bit of pressure and another bit of a problem that is on your plate, because you're contesting for more vehicles, you have less space to work with, and you go out with a clown's car, you have more teams around you that might be ready for a punish just in a circle like this. Guatemala is going to take priority spots in front of you. They're going to see you coming, and they're the ones who might be able to set a trap. So it's a tricky spot to find yourself in. Would have loved to see them adapt a little bit, but I mean, Maybe this is still doable, is still workable if they find vehicles, right? That's the main thing, because they're not really fighting for anything and they're not really wasting time in those fights. So if they can secure some vehicles somewhere, it's doable, it's manageable, but it will never be optimal. And that's what you want to see for an early game. It should always be as close to optimal as it can be, especially in a lobby where you are given so much space.
Uruguay being quite fortunate there in terms of that loot job. They haven't been as fortunate in the last 2 games and in terms of the early game. This time around, I think, with that loot spot, they're not going to rotate into anyone just yet. But gonna have to wait and see if that comes true, obviously. But at least by the looks of it, they won't. And with 6 points, they will need more than what they have if they want to qualify. 28 points and 22 there on Argentina as well. Means even to catch up to some of these top spots, it's gonna mean a chicken dinner almost safely at this point. And goes to show you how important a performance like this in the first couple of games really is. Brazil and Chile with these massive, massive games, and Argentina to some degree as well. But Chile, I was wondering if you think so as well. But I had this theory in the middle or ending of last game that I don't think anyone is going to be able to have a round like this again. Like the probability of someone like maybe Brazil or someone like Argentina having a round like Chile once more with even only the potential to find as many teams as Chile had, and thus getting all the kill points, I think is very low. I think that probability is really, really low, and I think that might have been the biggest round we might see coming out of the Americas qualifier.
Yeah, you could easily be right there, and you're 100% right. It's a crazy round. It's one in a million kind of thing, and just put yourself in the just have a look at the leaderboard, right, and just consider the fact that Chile got 29 points there. They're now on 32. The last place team is on 3 points. So if Panama would have gotten that round, they would now be in first, right? That's how much that round does on an early scoreboard. It's just a massive, massive jump. And like we said, there's a theoretical chance it happens again, but it's not something you should expect coming into the future matches. And it's not something you should be counting on. That being said, you don't have to always go out and get 19 killed chicken dinners. If you're able to get yourselves into these late games consistently and get some frags to boot, like a free buggy rotating past your compound, that can easily be enough. That can easily do the trick. And it doesn't always have to be absolutely mental what you pull off if you do it consistently.
More shots being put out by Colombia as Navy is able to take down the United States play. That's a massive, massive spray. Unfortunate for United States that they were driving straight into Navy, and you could tell it's first play as well. Navy gonna be able to pick up the flush too. Means Colombia is gonna start with 1 frag in the bank, and United States, unfortunately, again losing a play on the early stages. This is incredibly massive in terms, and we talked about this as well, incredibly massive in terms of finding a consistent performance and also going out of this qualifier after the 12 matches have been played and telling yourself we've given our best. Because it's really hard to judge giving your best when you're only 3 players up all the time. You will not be able to play your game. You will not be able to execute what you've practiced up until this point. And that's kind of the worst feeling as a player, right? If you know you had a chance to some degree, but due to the fact that you keep making rookie mistakes in the early stages, or even just, other players hitting nut shots on you, if you don't or aren't able to really give your best performance because of that, that's, once again, one of the worst feelings you can have as a player, and that's just something you really don't want to have.
Yeah, it really sucks to go home and be like, well, we couldn't even show what we really had in store and what we really had planned. And yeah, if you're losing players early, it's going to make the games so much harder. It's going to cost you a whole lot of time, resources, everything, as we've seen from USA so far. They've had a little bit of a hero play as a duo on Sanok. And that's pretty much the most impressive we've seen from them until now, as they've not been finding a consistent footing so far. But keep all this analysis to where it belongs. It's 2 games so far. Everybody has chances to turn this around. It's just hard to go off more than what we've seen so far. And so far, it's not been that impressive by the US. Guatemala is on Everest, and they are looking to take a few shots into players grabbing vehicles below them. Bit of damage done. Lots of damage done, I should say. But I'd be very surprised if they do actually get the knock, and especially if they do get the confirm here.
Yeah. I'll be very surprised too. I think that might just be a bit too much distance between these 2 players. As he drives back into the distance too. And we will continue as 42 players. Except for Suriname and the USA. No one's lost a player so far. I was kind of hyped to see the United States in this one. Such a strong region, such a strong country, the Americas, and especially the United States, towards the northern part of the Americas, obviously having so many star players. I was talking about Coops earlier. Obviously, this time around, not the strongest of representatives, or rather, not the most experienced of representatives coming in for the United States, but still, a fairly good lineup. Unfortunately, just so far, not really being able to show what they've done in the qualifiers. So I want to see more from them. I want to see more consistent rotations, and especially not losing players early on.
Not losing players early on is Chile, as they have found themselves one of the best compounds in the game, and they found themselves one of the worst neighbors in the game, which is Brazil. So both these teams in really good spots here to play a decent game from, and really able to grab themselves nice and good positions in this phase 2 shift. What they'll do with it is a whole different question. Potro on the roof is going to get a whole lot of information, maybe damage some vehicles, but as I say, that flaw on the other side, is going to be able to do the same to them. So again, tough neighbors, not the ones you like, the more rowdy ones, actually popping your vehicle tires and trying to pop you out of your cars as well. So these guys are going to be peacocking a little bit at each other, firing off some shots, making their presence known, trying to be as annoying as they can. But this is a different story. This is USA in a full-on fight, Felix.
Going to be important for the United States to win this one if they want to stay in the running. Yes, it's early on in this qualifier, but it's only 2 spots, so you really need all the chances you can get. As Geert is popping some more nades. This might be good. I think he almost just rotated into that. Navy is still behind the corner. That Molotov is going to bring him back to give the shotgun. This is a perfect play. Kid takes out another player. This is some really good stuff coming out from the United States, at least individually. But it's far from over. Isoka is still inside the compound as Achilles is rotating back into the house. He might be able to get revived. And there's another team trying to close in on this, trying to third party this. It's Uruguay. Kid has spotted him, but he's being taken down on his own. So they can't even make a move on towards the player they've just knocked. Unfortunate things coming in for Colombia and obviously the United States at the same time.
This is a messy one. That third party has made that fight just so much more complicated than it was. Colombia was not looking good, not looking clean. Now they've gotten the res onto Achilles and they're driving him out of there instantly. One bullet would knock him off the back of this buggy, but they are going to take him into a reset position and say, well, we're out of here. We're not involved in this fight anymore. And it's going to be the US who gets the shorter end of the stick. A full breach in full effect. He finds 1 knock. Can't find any more than that. Bad boy on the approach as well. He's going to hope to find a second. But even if he knocks down Siete here, he still has 2 more to deal with. And then another full team of Colombia on the horizon. So decides to get out of there. Decides to reset this, at least for now. And yeah, not a great time. Not a great start for the United States squad.
Tough decisions for all these teams, I gotta say, to whether or not to take this fight. So far, it's really only worked out for one team, which is Uruguay, who has coincidentally also been the last team to third-party this. But for the rest of them, Colombia especially, losing a player here, being so close to the top 3, catching up. But then an early game like this is not how you want to start things off in this next game after what we've just seen. And we are heading into the next fight. Once again, uncontested. As Ecuador is now breaching this. They've knocked Winter. They really want to get ahead of things. They want to clear this northern edge even before they really need to. And they're now looking for this 1v2 against Danny. Danny, though, peeks around the corner. He had the chance with the UMP to take down 80s. But 80s instead is going to take him down. As it's suddenly down through a 3-on-2. Darian gets knocked, but he's being traded out almost immediately too. Hunters is there in the backlines. There's another team chimes in. And Guatemala, I think, wants to get a piece of the action too.
Oh, again, it's so messy. We've talked about this, right? We said there's less teams to third party, but the teams that want to, they have so much more space and they can do so much more freely. Panama instantly going out of this one. And it's a quick reset coming out for Ecuador. But look at the speed of this third party. Tony has to be a little bit careful. He's going in a little bit deep. But it should be just fine. Returns the car. Realizes, all right, the players should be on the lower ground. Now the question is, do they want to take this fight aggressively? Or do they want to sit it out for a bit? The circle is not looking all that good for Guatemala. So maybe it's a good choice for them to go a little aggressive on this. But they're trying to collect the util before they do. And they're trying to use it to its max effect. As you can see on Tony here, he's looting back up, realizing, okay, what can we do with this? What do we want to close out? What kind of throwables do we want to use? They don't know that everybody's behind the building. If they did, it'd be a little bit more efficient with the nades. But if you throw enough at this yellow house, something might just stick.
Still not convinced this is really the best option for Ecuador. But they're not going to be able to get away from this. Either way, they're going to have to stick this one out as the first knock came through. Guatemala with the perfect position now. They want to get into the action. They know there's not another team left on the northern side, so they can third party this without any kind of danger. And they will do so clean. Really good stuff coming out from Guatemala. They'll be the third team entering this fight, and they'll be the last one out of it. And we've seen similar thing happen to Uruguay and the team all around ruins. But this time around, at least, they will still be alive in phase 4, as the same cannot be said, unfortunately, for Uruguay. Good stuff. Guatemala needed this one as well. We said for teams to now catch up to these top 2 spots especially, it's going to need more than just a bit of luck.
It will, and kills are always a good way to start. 4-man cars or something that we have seen before for some of these squads. So that's not looking pretty, especially when you're rotating past teams like Argentina, Chile, Brazil, all set up in center compounds. And that's no surprise to me, at least. It's the top 3 of the scoreboard in good positions here, while the rest of the lobby is tearing each other to pieces. And I'm not sure where that clown car is going, Felix, but they either go far and put themselves under a ton of risk, or they stay close and don't really get anywhere and potentially lose that one single car that they have. So every choice they take here, it's not going to be an easy one, and it's not going to be a great one. Dominican Republic, yes, they have 4 players alive. They're in placements, but they're almost in desperate territory just because of their vehicle situation.
Good stuff. USA now being eliminated near Pochenki. Must have happened towards the southern side. And we're heading into a top 7 situation. Placement points being secured all around. Even for Team USA, that means 1 point being secured. And Guatemala now, with their last fight, has got quite a bit of options rotating into this northern side. We saw the map, except for Brazil being in the center of the circle. And one other country being just south of them. There's still plenty of place for everyone to find themselves a spot. Even west of Brazil are positions that are still open. That double building out in the middle of nowhere, for example, is a spot that could potentially be taken, even though it would be quite the risky one. But the most centralized positions and the ones that have the highest winning probability have been inhabited already. And that is, unfortunately, I want to say for everyone else, inhabited by Chile and Brazil. Both of them looking now really strongly to enter late stages of this match. And I don't think there's going to be too many teams that could really potentially have a say in this one as well. Their positions, almost unbreachable ones as well.
Not an easy position to find yourself in. Argentina does what they do best, which is find a few frags in earlier stages of the game. Full team coming on through. It is the remainders of Colombia that tried to make their way towards the circle, losing one in the process, losing one in transition. Not the worst thing in the world, sort of what you would expect when you have to send all of the way through the middle. If they get cleared out here, though, if their cars get blown up, if they get utilitied, that's a big problem. And Argentina sees weakness here. But Argentina forgot about the player in the shack, and that's Jerry going down. That's bad news, Bears. That's a lot of time they're going to have to waste and a lot of resources when they were hoping to put the pain into the rest of the lobby. You could see they were firing off a few shots at both of the teams around them, maybe even thinking about clearing that shack, and now suddenly they're on the back foot.
Colombia looking to hold this forest area now. It's not going to be easy, but it's at least going to secure them in the next phase, with almost no team really making their way towards them just yet. But Argentina hasn't started that move now, and I think when they do, you can see one player already scouting the forest. When they do, I think they're going to drive towards the forest. There's not really another position they could potentially play. They'll try to deal with Legend before that, but with the zone now closing in 12 seconds, I think they might just leave him alone and prioritize zone. Not yet, though. A couple of more seconds until the circle closes, and I think they realize, well, Legend is going to have to move before they do. So they are really keen on finding this one frag, and they need to as well. We said it, in order to catch some of these top teams, even for a team like Argentina, who's not consistently found frags, just a single one could really be the difference between catching up and not catching up. Now, shots coming in from the distance. Guatemala taking him down. But who's going to get the flash? That's going to be the big question.
Yeah, it's wide open there on that knock, and you can see Argentina wants it. But Argentina, I'm not sure if they were able to get it. Maybe Mystic from the off angle was the one picking it up. He's the one that's been fragging out for this squad in the past few games. Now, bit of aggression coming out towards Guatemala. That's Alex instantly knocked to his knees. The counter util not good enough, and the play is coming out of the shack. So, yes, it's a desperate send, but it has brought them into a top 6 here. And now the Dominican Republic even taking frags towards Guatemala. They're coming alive in this. I think they can just take a little bit of control. They might get another few points out of this. More than a few points. I don't know how they would be able to pull that off, Alex, with how little terrain they have to work with and how open everything is around them. But at least getting these frags, maybe just making sure Guatemala goes out before they do, that could be enough to pretty much finish their job for this game and keep them in contention.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, it's Brazil. Still controlling that area towards the northern side. Not a perfect shift for them either. It goes to show you, even if you do play centralized up until phase 5, it doesn't guarantee you a centralized spot in the remaining phases. And at that point, it's almost impossible to recenter, right? So you still have to win all the important frags and important fights after phase 5. Guatemala, talking about important fights, this is a really important one for them, because after they leave the shack, I don't think there's any way to rotate in. So these nades need to hit perfectly if they want to secure any more points in this game. There goes another one. I think they've found the first one already. They need to be careful as well. So many angles, so many eyes on them. As they are nades now raining back on them. That nade is going to go too far as well. It's a pretty well taken one, but unfortunately the wrong smoke. As at least the first frag has now been flushed out by the Blues. And there's another one. I think it's going to go too far as well. And Parado, unfortunately, being picked apart now by the blue zone. And now Tony realizes if they don't make a move now, they will both die immediately to the blue zone either way. But while running there, the blue zone has done its job already. And both of the teams eliminated now.
Yeah.
As we are heading towards phase 6.
Nice pickups for Argentina, who decide to move on south, but I want to draw your attention elsewhere. Look at this map and look where all of these Brazilian players are looking. Nobody knows about the solo behind them. They haven't looked there in a good while. I've been keeping my eyes peeled. They haven't been checking their back at all. Suriname, one player alive in their back lines, and I don't think Brazil has the faintest idea. That might not matter if Argentina looks over and takes care of it for them. But if that solo gets in their back line, if he is allowed to make a move behind them, he could be a big problem. There it is. Piddle, he wants to do this from the back lines. He wants to do it from the sneak-in position. But his days are numbered just as Brazil's are. So as they are smoking out and trying to make their vehicle rotation towards Argentina, he'll have to start making moves as well.
There goes Florenzo with the vehicle. He's been toying around with this one for quite some time now. And look at this. They've realized as direct fight with Chile is not what they want to have. So they're aiming to find an entry towards that western hillside. And they will do so, at least for now. But, well, with Argentina being there close by, I don't think they're going to be able to do so without a fight at the very least. And one of them has already been caught in rotation. It's going to make that fight against Argentina an even harder one, as they are raining down nades already. 2 players being knocked, 1 already flashed. There goes the return. The boy almost with that knock. Would have been such an important one. But the enemy stays alive. Just a tiny bit longer. Now with Diego and obviously Little Boy with the last 2 alive, it looks even more troublesome. But now there goes the fight. And there goes Diego with a really important knock against Argentina.
They're schooling them right now, honestly. This is not something that should have happened to Argentina. Argentina has had control in the forest for so long. Brazil pulls up. They lose 2 members in transition. Essentially, half of the team doesn't even make it there. And somehow they still come out on top. Little Boy and Diego putting up big numbers here, putting up big work, and really ruining Argentina's chances when they had no right to do so. They're pulling up below. They're getting naded instantly. Argentina has all the information, but just outclassing them individually, outclassing them in the decision-making department as well, and making this extremely hard for the Argentinian squads. As Chile, on the other hand, they don't have an idea about the solo behind them as well, but they don't care all too much either, because what they want to do is take out Brazil, and they want to take control of the forest, and they're on a really, really good way to do so. It's just Little Boy left alive.
Yeah, and I mean, his position, let's be honest, is not one that I would want to trade with him right now. He's being surrounded by everyone, and there goes Chile. And Chile was looking for this as well. They want to make sure that is the one team that goes out as the very next one, right? They even left alive Suriname and their backlines to do so. Knowingly left them alive, because obviously that is the biggest competition for them. And that's the one team in the Euro leaderboard right now that is the most dangerous one to them, just generally. And look at this. This is disastrous right now for Argentina. To some degree, also, a little bit of disrespect being put out by them. I mean, they don't even use their weapons at this point. They knew the way he was positioned inside the forest, there was no way he was going to get any frag, so they just drive him over. That's dangerous, though. This time around, that drive over is not going to happen because it's Mystic, and he's been the key fragger for Chile. He takes down the second player, too. What is happening? Mystic, he might just turn things around right now. It's shotgun against shotgun. Mystic will be taken down, but it's a sliver of HP left on Chile. And my goodness, that could have gone even worse for them, because throwing away a round like this, which is what they've almost done, is disastrous in the total leaderboard. And look at this, Piddles. He still has a say in this. He might just find the angle in time. Suriname looking to close out the game.
Oh, he's found so much space. He's found a big, big angle here. They might not have any idea he's this close. If he can let the shots rip at the right timing, he might just do this. And Chile has just thrown away the easiest, cleanest win they've ever had to just now be stepping into smokes and hoping that somehow this goes well. Piddles has all the chances in the world. He lets the M4 rip. He does a good bunch of damage, takes a little bit in return. The reposition will have to come out, and it's a 1 versus 2. The shotgun might do the trick. He finds one. Can he find the second? Can he clutch it? No! It's Chile who gets away with it. But oh my, that was the opposite of clean. That was almost disaster.
I think that was disaster for a team like Chile to throw away a game like this and let it come down to a 1v1 against Suriname. That is disaster spelled out clean. And yeah, unfortunate for Chile. They will only be able to take home 7 elimination. But that's still 17 points. That's way more than anyone else had in this round. It was way more equal in terms of kill distribution than what we've seen coming out of the first 2 games. Either way, though, a pretty fast game as well. And once again, one of the favorites taking home the dinner. And we said after the last game as well that Chile looks even better than Brazil. And I think this game is testament to that. Chile playing it clean, Chile playing it relatively centralized when they need to as well. They know that this is a circle that the winning spot is the most centralized one. And they don't necessarily need to play for a centralized spot all the time, but in a circle like this where it's really tough to fight in from the outside, we've seen all these teams struggle, even Guatemala, despite their clean wipe, not having any entry from the northern side. So Chile playing it really smart, knowing that, yes, they might give up on frags early, and they might not play to their strength, or just fighting right away. But by taking the centralized position, they would do so later on, and that's what they did. So great play from Chile.
Yeah, clean in the end, and some clean stuff from Brazil there in the Argentina fight, but just not the position they would have wanted to be in, right? But I think it sends a bit of a message what Chile is doing here, which is just overconfidence, right? They went a little bit too hard after that last game. They went a little bit too confident. Yes, great stuff taking out Brazil. That's important and that's big. But they almost throw the game away. And not only did they almost throw the game away, which is a difference of 6 points maybe at that point, right? It's 5 placement points and a kill that you're throwing away at least. They're also giving it to Argentina. Like, if Mystic just does hit 2 more shotgun pellets out of the shots he's firing there, then he's got at least the second place. And he's taken them out in third. And then the same thing happens with the Suriname player as well. So, yes, they've been strong in fights, and they've had a good rotation in this game as well, with good compounds being taken. But they can't be throwing opportunities away here, because you don't know how many chances they'll get tomorrow. They don't know how many chances they'll get in the rest of the games. The rest of the lobby ain't sleeping. And I hope this is a wake-up call. I hope they're realizing that was too close for comfort.
Yeah, it really was. Well, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But Chile so far is running away with it. They're doing everything they need to stay at the top consistently. And we've got some fans in the chat as well for Chile. Shout out to you guys. Constanza, for example, up on the YouTube stream. Shout out to you. Consistently supporting Chile in the chat. And they'll have plenty of other guys. 19 frags, be reminded. 19 frags is what Chile had in the round before. Match summary is dominated by different players, though. It's not Chile, it's Argentina. Mystic grabbing the highest elimination spots again. And let's head into the match standings. That's where the interesting part is. 11 frags, not quite. 10 frags for Chile, but 11 points for Argentina, and Guatemala, out of all the teams, Guatemala making a little bit of a comeback as well. This is good, especially considering that the very top team, Brazil, has only gotten 8. So that difference is going to be a little bit closer towards these qualification spots.
Yeah, it's a good comeback. It's a good sign of life, especially when they're taking fights early and winning them, and getting away with a lot of players, right? Those were not easy fights, not clean fights, but they played them well so far. So good to see for them. And then Argentina, once again, second place. Most consistent team in the lobby right now. Just consistently second, which is not going to maybe win you the tournament. But if they continue up this level of consistency to somehow keep getting into late games so much and getting second place so much, that might just be enough. Mystic as well, doing a fantastic job for them, right? We talked a little bit about IC before this game. We said carrying as a solo shouldn't be possible, at least not regularly. Mystic is doing big things right now for Argentina. But the head-to-head will be Chile versus Guatemala. It's Tony versus MZSI. And it's a pretty close one, to be honest. But you take away the win, and all your kills mean so much more.
Yeah. Well, it's been 7-8. Guatemala with a good performance as well. A little bit more damage out of Chile. But yeah, Guatemala, I guess the second team to watch in that round. Maybe even the team to watch, because Chile has just been that consistent with that performance. Making a little bit of a comeback. I said it right then and there. They will need 2, maybe 3 more of these types of games in the next couple of matches, especially going into tomorrow. But it's a good pickup. 19 frags. Excuse me, not 19 frags. I keep on saying frags. It's obviously 19 total points. They wish they had 19 frags, so that will mean very close to a qualification spot is where they would be with that. But no, unfortunately, just 9 eliminations instead of 19. But 19 points total, as we said. It's going to bump them up to 5th place. So Guatemala and Suriname, both of them with the 2 massive rounds, bumping themselves up to qualification spots almost. A couple of more good games being needed, and a couple of weaker ones for Brazil and Chile. But that difference already is massive. 50 points almost for Chile. Down to a non-qualification spot, it is already 16 points, which is, as we said, massive in this round.
It's a good start. It's a great start, and it's going to show people very early who the teams to look out for are. And, well, we thought it would be Chile, Brazil, and Colombia. Right now, it is Chile, Brazil, and Argentina that are towards the top. And I think it's a bit more balanced when you look at the Chile side of things. But we'll have a look at the MVP, and it is Mystic. Not a balanced team, Argentina right now. A whole lot of work being put in by Mystic, but solid positioning throughout this game as well. If they could have just played that a little cleaner towards Brazil and made sure they caught them out in rotation, I'm not quite sure why they were so pressured and so pinched in. But if they kill Brazil there, then they might just be looking like the winners of the game. And that's exactly the stats we love to see. Chile, a little bit more balance between two players. Brazil, pretty balanced between Little Boy and Diego. And then Mystic all alone in there for Argentina in the top 5 performers.
Yeah, we got to give it up for Mystic. He's been the player to watch so far for Argentina. And you said it. It's it's not a balanced team so far. I think Argentina has a lot more to kind of spread out between all these players. It can't just be Mystic if they really want to qualify. It can't just be Mystic, not with the amount of points that is being secured right now by Chile.
Yeah, it can't be, and maybe it won't be. We have 3 more matches today. We've got one more ERANGEL when we come back from this break, so don't go anywhere. It'll just be a few minutes.